If this is the year that you are serious about pouring your energy and focus into your artistic or creative brand so that you can grow your business, then this video is dedicated to you, my friend. Come in, have a seat, and let's talk about building a brand and business that is in alignment with God's highest plan for your life, where you are creatively free, financially thriving, and impacting your tribe. It's time to go all in on building an aligned A1 brand. And I say aligned because you're going to be creating from this space where you are your highest self, where you're fully content as you fulfill your purpose, your destiny, and God's will. And then A1, because you want to position your brand as the premium go-to choice, the crème de la crème for your community, right? Whether that's for your content, your services, your products, whatever it is that you're going to be offering them in terms of value. And obviously that is going to help you raise your income as a creative, because the value, that premium value that you're serving people, will allow you to justifiably charge whatever you want to charge, for your products and services. So how do you actually do that? Because all of us have our artist and content creator inspirations, right? We look at them and their branding and it's just so damn magnetic, like whether that's from their website to their content, to their products and their messaging, their shit is just together. And we look at that and we're just like, how? How have you got to that point? Like, what even is that? What is branding? Well, if you boil it down to what most people think about, a brand is simply a name, a reputation, and a logo, right? But we should go deeper on that, because there's actually three main components to branding, and a lot of people simply get them mixed up or neglect them or simply just don't know about them. So the first one, brand identity, is all about the visual, vocal, or sensory elements of a brand. And this is actually what I work on myself as a brand designer. That is everything from your logo to your colors to your typography and just your general graphic design. Everything that sets you apart and creates a distinct look and feel for your brand, right? You might already have this sorted, or you might not, or you might want to revisit it. But the point is, you need to have a distinct brand identity, because that is what is going to make your brand memorable and recognizable from your competitors. And of course, we are talking about your personal brand in this video, right? So you want to make sure that your brand identity really represents your artistic style, your quirks, the way you speak, everything that is uniquely you, so that you draw the right people in when your brand is out there representing you. The next one, brand, on the other hand, extends way beyond the visuals, because it's all about the history, right? Your brand isn't just simply some shiny logo for you to parade around. It is all about the reputation and the stories that you leave with people. Your brand is built on the back of stories and experiences that you give people. And of course, your brand can give people direct experiences, like maybe a great exhibition that they attended, or fast delivery, or pretty like packaging, or something cool, right? Or it could be secondary, like a moment in time that people have spent together where something from your brand was present, right? So let's just imagine like someone went on a great family camping trip and they had one of your graphic t-shirts on, and yeah, they like spent that time with their family, but like your artwork and your product was in that moment. You've created a moment with your customer in their lives when you weren't even there, just through your products. And then finally, the last one is branding. And this is all about strategically shaping your brand's image and reputation by, coming up with ways for people to remember your brand. Marketing, essentially. Because here's the thing, whether you acknowledge it or not, you are always, and I mean always, in the process of branding. Whether that's giving someone an intentional or unintentional perspective shift in your content, or again, giving someone a nice experience because you wrapped their products really fancily. It doesn't matter what it is. You're creating experiences by interacting and just existing with people as your brand, as yourself. So the goal is to be as intentional as you can with the experience that you leave in people's lives, because you want it to be a good experience. Of course, you don't want to create bad experiences for your brand. 1,000 negative experiences creates 1,000 negative brand ambassadors, bad advocates, and negative, obviously, reputation for your brand. And of course, that's going to hurt your business. So that's not what you want. Okay, so last year, I decided to get super intentional with my own personal artist brand. I started broadcasting the message that the starving artist stereotype is dead, right? That shit is dead. There has never been a better time to be an artist, especially with the internet at our fingertips. We can build ourselves up as brands with the right knowledge and insights. And if we're action-led and soul-led, we can go past the gatekeepers who have, traditionally told us what good and bad art is and thrive. We can thrive off of our own backs now. It's so possible. And it turns out that messaging resonates with a lot of artists and creatives because my TikTok just blew up. And I started to attract a lot of like-minded artists who are also just going for it, right? They're just determined to build themselves up and thrive. And when I was doing market research to just understand the psychology of our space, because that is important, you need to know who you're serving so that you can serve them well, right? I interviewed a couple artists and I saw some very interesting things, but I realized that there's like 3 main problems with the mentality in our space right now. The first problem I saw was that a lot of artists simply don't think about themselves as brands yet. Or they do, but it's kind of like loose and they're not really sold on the idea and they haven't really activated on that yet. And that is so important because that is what is going to lead you to success, right? Understanding that you are more than just you. What you're doing is more than just you. It's a brand. It's going to touch people. It's going to do things, have impact in the world. Because look, like the chances are, if you've clicked on this video and you're still watching, you are a self-driven artist and creative. And perhaps you're already making money off of your talents right now. More power to you. But deep down, you are wildly ambitious and you know that you're here to do more. You know that you're here to impact people in some way. You have this feeling deep down, it's been speaking to you, your soul's been speaking to you, and you're trying to activate on that mission, right? You intuitively know that this is not the level that God has planned for you to settle on. And so you're not gonna settle. Then problem number 2 is that because these artists don't yet consider themselves as brands, or very loosely, right? It means that they're not branding themselves from a strong, clear vision right now. And that right there makes it hard for them to show up and represent or advocate for their personal brand online because they simply just don't know what they're leading with, who they're supposed to be serving, and what they're actually doing with their brand. It's almost like that first problem, right? Not considering yourself as a brand is like this light switch to a dark room, and if you just don't even turn on that light switch in the first place, you're not going to see the golden vision in the center of the room that God has there waiting for you. So you need to turn that light switch on so that you can really realize that there's more for you, and you have to move differently, operate differently so that you can actually start taking steps towards firstly getting your hands on that vision and then understanding, figuring out how to bring it to life. Your vision is waiting for you in that dark room, I promise you. Finally, the third problem is documentation. Because they haven't clarified their vision yet, how they're moving as a brand, that brand vision, they can't then sit down and solidify that in writing. And that is so important for so many reasons. The first being that is what enables you to sit down and then create this plan, create a God-aligned plan of how you are going to take tangible steps towards manifesting that higher reality. You need to be able to see that on paper. And another key reason why you need to have that on paper is because when you get lost, and I promise you, because I'm going through it myself many times in my own journey, when you get lost and when you have those dark days and those down moments, you need to be able to have something that you can go back to and remind yourself of why you're doing it. When you have that written down, it just makes that bounce back so much easier. I mean, sure, deep down, you know what you're capable of, right? You have this power inside of you and it's itching to manifest in its truest form, but you can't do that if you are wandering in the dark. And writing down, your instructions and where you're heading to is giving yourself that map for you to follow when the lights go out sometimes, and they just will. Or to put it in another way, that documentation is your map. That map is your torch in the dark that is going to help you find your way to your highest destiny. So how can we solve branding and actually do it well? Create beautiful aesthetics or visual branding, come up with the right messaging so that you resonate with your tribe and call them in, or, come up with ingenious ways to leave positive experiences with the people that you're going to be serving. How do you do all of that? How can you strengthen your personal brand so that it blesses your audience's lives? Solution number one, clarify your why. The very first thing to do is to eliminate all distractions for as long as you need so that you can then take that journey on the inside, right? You can do that in whatever way works for you, whether that's meditating or journaling or creating or dancing, whatever it's going to take for you to get into that flow state, do that. Get into that state, then listen to your heart, listen to your mind, and see what comes up, right? What is being shown to you, what's being told from your intuitive space. Then the next thing to do is then listen to your soul, your higher self, that part of you that is directly connected to God. And I promise you, you will be shown or told what to do. You'll be given downloads of what God wants you to do in this lifetime, what your purpose is, that destiny, you know, your path of purpose, your creative path of purpose will be shown to you just by listening and tapping in and tuning all the way in. You will either discover, clarify, or remember your purpose on this planet. Because I know it sounds cliche, but it's so true when they say that your spirit, your soul already knows what you're supposed to be doing down here in this lifetime on this planet. With the gifts that have been put inside of you, you know what you're supposed to be doing. God gave you certain gifts, interests, and experiences just to build you up into the type of person with the perception and powers that you're sitting there with right now, you know, and those qualities, those characteristics that you've developed have well equipped you to creatively solve some type of problem that you're here to solve, you know, some type of problem that you care about. It could be a social cause. It could be, you know, your artistic vision or mission, or even some type of story that you're supposed to release out into the world. You know what that is. You know what that is. When you sit down and uncover it for yourself, it's sitting right there and it's just waiting for you to harness it and get to work. And once you unearth that vision, that purpose, that is going to be the power source for your brand, right? For your brand's vision, because that is going to power and leak into every single thing that you do. It's like your brand and business is this vehicle, right? This vehicle that is carrying you to this new reality, to this higher reality that you are supposed to experience, that you are supposed to live and do God's work in, do God's will, fulfill your destiny in. And this vision that you are cultivating is the power source for that vehicle. So you really need it. You have to uncover it, or at least get clearer about it, right? So that you can build towards your vision to this reality in a much more efficient way. But here is the thing that I rarely hear people talk about or mention when they talk about finding your why. And that thing is, it takes time, my friend. It takes time to chip away at the rocks to uncover and unearth your why, because God needs to reveal your vision in pieces. Like, it's not just going to be revealed to you all in one go. First of all, that would blow your mind. You just wouldn't be ready for it. It's kind of like lottery winners, right? Like people who win the lottery, they get all of this money in one go, and they are not the kind of people, they don't have the mental infrastructure, maybe the emotional infrastructure, the spiritual fortitude, all of the things they need, the financial knowledge to maintain and sustain that money. And there's some crazy statistic, it's like 80 to 90% of them end up broke again because they haven't been prepared for that reality. And it's the same with your vision, right? You are going to be given your vision in pieces just to prepare you for that reality that you're going into. And it takes work. Let me not underestimate that. It takes work. You need to prove to God, show God that you are willing to work and keep taking the steps forward, so that you are, you build yourself up and you have this responsibility about you, so that you can be given more and blessed with more power and abundance to do the things that you're supposed to do with that. And more importantly, on that journey, you will be releasing things, old habits, old ways of thinking that don't serve you, that if they were to exist in this new reality, could potentially block or destroy or sabotage your blessings, right? And your progress. So it really is important that you embrace this journey, this process, and stick with it. and do the work. Don't be afraid to fall and start again. Like, you have to do this. You have to go through that process to build you up. For example, you know, I co-founded an SEO marketing agency and built the foundations for that business with the other co-founders and stuff, and then realized, like, once things were starting to go, that this wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And it really was a tough decision to walk away to really pursue the path that I knew and that my soul was calling for, but it had to be done. And I trusted myself and my intuition with that, because God has a calling for you, and when you know it, you can't run from it. It will always come back to you. So you have to take the brave steps to make sacrifices sometimes, and, you know, learn hard lessons, but ultimately trust in that you are being built up and shown where you're supposed to be going towards. And because you're an artist or a creative entrepreneur watching, I'm sure that you already know that sacrifices and tough calls have to be made sometimes. So the point of me saying this is to just stay adaptable and stick with that process, because you know that God is showing you inch by inch, lesson by lesson, what you're supposed to be doing and placing you where you're supposed to be placed. Solution number 2, documentation. Again, I highly suggest documenting your vision, especially if you feel like you've got clarity on your vision. And if you don't, then still document it, because you can update that vision incrementally as things get revealed to you. And documenting isn't just about capturing your vision. It's also about being able to effectively communicate your vision, right? And to do that, you're going to need to create 2 key documents. The first is your artist statement. This will be more about documenting what was revealed to you during your heart and mind part of your inner search, because your artist statement is essentially your manifesto. You know, it's a document to explain your artistic processes, your philosophies, your interests, your themes, your journey as an artist and creative professional. Having an artist statement is such a huge benefit to you, because it helps you to map out your creative universe and potentially come up with new ideas. And then more importantly, it serves as this kind of bridge between you and your audience. And it absolutely should be consumer facing messaging, which essentially just means that it can change based on where it's going to sit, who's going to be reading it, and what it needs to communicate to whoever's reading it, right? Traditionally, artist statements are usually typed up or written up, but there is nothing to say that, especially in this day and age, in this digital age, you can't create some type of audio or video or imagery to capture all of your creative and artistic processes and ideas and beliefs. So do what works for you, right? But essentially, your artist statement needs to include these couple of things when you create it. Your introduction. So you absolutely should outline your background as an artist, why you create art, the challenges you face, and the aspirations and goals that you have as an artist. Next is artistic inspiration. So who or what inspires you as an artist, and what themes and concepts are you interested in exploring in your work? Then it's your artistic process. So what materials do you like using and why? And is there any interesting information on your actual process itself? Is there anything different or unique that you do? And finally are your artistic goals. So who are you trying to impact in this world with your art? What story are you trying to tell? And, you know, what role do you want your art to play in this world? Listen, having clarity on your artistic vision will greatly, that's an understatement, will pretty much drive your entire content strategy for your brand. So you need to be super clear on what that is. And of course, there's different ways, as I mentioned before, that your artist statement can take shape and form, but I think that's a lot of information that we can do probably in another video. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. And finally, solution number 3 is your mission statement. So the second document that you need to create, that you should create, is a mission statement, which you're probably already familiar with. But for those of you that need a refresher, it's basically just a text that outlines your business's overall focus and reason for existing. And this document right here is more about capturing what your higher self, what God wants you to do with your gifts and your brands and your business, and how you're supposed to serve in this world. Having an up-to-date version of this, and I can't stress this enough, is absolutely essential, because it is the compass, my friends, for your brand and business's direction. Plus, anyone who quickly reads this can quickly absorb your brand's goals and vision while, understanding what sets the brand apart from its competitors. Overall though, your mission statement should include these things: purpose and mission. Clearly articulate the business's reason for existing, why it exists and what purpose it has to fulfill. Target audience or customer focus. You need to identify what audience the business aims to serve. That is going to help you define, the market and the audience for the products and services the business will be, shipping out. Products and services or offers. So just briefly mention, what products and services the business is serving, which gives clarity on what the business is actually, giving to its audience. Values. Outline the core values that guide the business. What principles and beliefs are fundamental to the way that the business operates. Vision for the future. So express a forward-facing perspective and basically just outline how the business wants to positively impact the world in some way. Unique value proposition. So lastly, highlight what sets your brand and business apart from competitors in your industry or niche. Of course, that could be a different approach or a higher quality or way of doing things. Oh, and by the way, while the core elements of your statement should stay consistent, I think it's important to just say that don't be afraid, of course, to be adaptable, because your business is a growing thing. Your brand is a growing and evolving thing like a person, right? So you need to be able to adapt it and change it as your business strategy and the way that you do things changes. So just keep that in mind. So by doing all of this, you're just going to be making sure that your brand's energetics are on point, because that's the nature of this universe, right? Whether you look at it from a spiritual viewpoint or a quantum scientific viewpoint, that is the state of things, right? Everything in this universe is potential, ethereal, non-tangible energy first, that then falls down into physical manifestation or physical matter when we observe it. And visualization, imagination, and thought forms are a form of observation. It just is what it is, right? So taking the time to map out the right intentions, God-aligned intentions, will just basically ensure that you manifest the best possible outcome, because you're seeing this best reality for yourself in your mind first. And as artists, we literally have such a huge head start in that area, right? Because we've been blessed with a strong mind's eye. That's literally our domain. That's what we do all day. We imagine things and we make them out of nothing, essentially. And so we should use that gift. We should use that gift for brand building in our lives, because we can really tap in and really harness and see where we're going. So when it comes to building your brand, use your powers, really see it, get the intention and the visualization part right, and everything else will follow suit. This vision will flow into your content, into your beautiful brand aesthetics and identity, into the great ideas that you come up with to market your brand, into the excitement that you have to show up, to represent your brand online. It will flow into everything. And that is what's going to help you to build this A1 brand, because you will be moving from a place of purpose where you're happy and content with the things that you're doing and the way that you're serving. And another thing that it will influence is your identity and who you become, because that's, essentially who you're evolving into. The brand that you outline is who you're evolving into, the best possible version of yourself. And that's important because that creates a reputation. And again, when the challenges come, when the storm rolls in, when you don't know how you're going to make it out of this situation, maybe you don't know how you're going to pay this bill, you don't know if the next customer is going to come, or how you're going to grow your audience, and all of the things, all of the worries and things that come up on this journey, right? You will have an anchor, because your vision is an anchor. It's something that God has given you. It's something that that you're supposed to do from a divine order, right? And when things get dark, you will have that anchor to keep you in place, to stabilize you when the seas around you are getting rough. You can hold on to that vision and wait for the storm to pass, right? Wait for those times to subside, because they never last. Everything in this universe is changing always, and it's on a polarity. There's good times, bad times, and having this anchor just carries you through the tough times and helps you to stick with the process, gain the lessons, and grow into the person that you were always meant to become. So clarify your vision, stick with it, keep going, and you have got this. You've literally got this. You're on your way. You've watched this video. Obviously something's resonated with you, and yeah, like, just keep going, my friend. If you've enjoyed this video, drop me a healthy like or comment, or you can join the Oracle Circle mailing list for more branding and marketing deep dives and resources that I'll be dropping soon. Thanks for stopping by this wizard in the woods. Stay blessed and highly favored, and I will see you soon, my friend.